And I think I'd like just to invite Georg, Friedrich Haas to join me up here. I'll give you this microphone, if you don't mind. And yeah, so hope everyone can hear us well. So just a little brief background here. Georg Friedrich Haas was born in Graz, Austria, and grew up in the mountains near Swiss border. He started to compose music seriously in 1974 and began teaching in 1978 at the University of Arts in Graz. From 2005 to 2013, he was professor of composition at the Music Academy in Basel. Since August 2013, he has been the McDowell Professor of Music at the Columbia University in New York. Haas is considered one of the major European composers of his generation. He synthesizes a highly original Austrian tradition of grand orchestral statement with forward-looking interests in and microtonal tuning. These interests stem from both French spectralism and a strand of American experimentalism. So, Georg, could you briefly explain the microtonal system? Briefly, it's hard to do briefly, but and maybe how it worked its way into your compositions.
Well, first of all, I want to say that I'm so happy to be here. ACA is an amazing place, and here, thank you for the invitation here. It is the wonderful thing is to have contact with different artists on a very high level, and we have wonderful communication, and I'm so happy to be in this wonderful place. But now, Microtonality, I think we just heard something microtonal, because when we listened to your language, you were not tuned correctly. you did not speak exactly in these 12 pitches per octave, which the piano does have. But nobody of us had the impression he's speaking out of tune, nor do I. And my very simple question is, we have all these sounds around us, and we love them, but we don't use them in art. And I think here's a huge thing to do now. And if you look back to history, there were always some composers who worked with microtonality, but it was very difficult to do it. For example, Ivan Vishnegradsky he was the son of a banker of St. Petersburg. He used the money of his father to construct a quarter-tone piano. Fine.
A quarter-tone
piano. It's a double piano, where I could play quarter tones on this on one instrument. But today we live in a time where electronic, where computers, the access to microtonality is very cheap. And everyone does have this access. And I believe here's something developing in the future which might be very, very interesting. This is one thing. The second thing which is interesting for my music is we have a tradition of new music, let's say starting with Schoenberg or with Gustav Mahler or whatever. And most of us have the imagination this new music sounds terrible. My wife says the music sounds like a cat on fire.
It's true, I said that.
But on the other side, maybe everybody of you has heard some of the most avant-gardistic orchestra pieces. When, for example, when you saw the movie Odyssey 2000, there is the
2001, Professor.
2001, sorry. There's the Donner Waltz of Johann Strauss and Atmosphere of Georg Ligeti. Or in Shining, where Ligeti and Penderecki's music are coming. And I think nobody of you has thought, okay, it's so terrible. And I think we have to, today, my generation of the composers and the younger ones, we may use all these materials which the avant-gardist has developed, but we can use them in a free way. We don't need a 12-tone road to justify our so-called dissonant harmonies. We don't. We can just work freely, and I think this freedom is very interesting. So I spoke too much.
That's fantastic. We're going to take a couple of questions too. So along these lines, does anybody have any questions at this point? All right, then. I was gonna ask if you have any specific project you're working on at this time, while at ACA or in the future that you plan.
I am just starting a project together with my wife called The Hyena. My wife is a professional storyteller, and I try to bring this storytelling, combine this storytelling with avant-gardistic chamber music. It's one project, and parallel with this, I start to compose my 9-string quartet, which will be performed in complete darkness. And complete darkness does not only mean to switch off the light, it really has to be totally dark, and so the musicians can only communicate by the ears, they cannot look to them. They have to memorize the whole piece, and this is it's a challenge for me to write if it is possible, and then it's a challenge for them to do it. So these two pieces will be first performed in November 12th in Vienna at the Festival Wien Modern, and 1 week later in Huddersfield in northern England. And the text about it, that is The Hyena. The text, my wife has been alcoholic, is a recovered alcoholic, and she was very, very deep in this illness, almost dying, and she is writing about this abyss. That is the first part of the concert, and the second part of the concert is that we will switch the lights off, and now, after the inner darkness, now is coming the outer darkness, or the darkness of the woman, the 9-string quartet will be performed.
Wow. Does it ever move to light?
At the end, when the audience, when they make the bow, then it's a light.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
He came from the land of the waltzes, Strauss and Mozart. How did you get interested in atonal music? Where did you hear that in the mountains?
I don't come from the land of Strauss and Mozart. I come from the land of Schoenberg and Weber. Well, it's not true.
Yeah.
Because
It's like, here's my cute answer.
Strauss, okay. My absolute favorite is Schubert.
Yeah.
And Mozart. These are right. Also, when I teach my students, I tell them, please study Mozart and learn how it's working in musical language. For example, this ending of the first scene of the Don Giovanni, when there are 3 emotions at the same time. And it's such a genial piece of music. Not even Alban Berg got this in Mozart. Was what Mozart was able to do in this opera. It's amazing. But I'll give you a very quick answer. In Salzburg there was a festival called the Second Modernism, and I was one of the composers of the Second Modernism. And I said, no, we don't. And I was asked to write something about Second Modernism, and I don't want to write it, I don't love this term. But you have to do it. And then I wrote, why Second Modernism? I'm still a part of the First Modernism. And this First Modernism starts approximately at 1240, when a monk named Leoninus started to compose chorales in 2 parts. And for me, music history is always modern, because Mozart did as much as was possible in his time. Schubert did as much as is possible at his time. And if I would copy Mozart or Schubert or Johann Strauss or whatever, or Schoenberg, I would not go to as much as is possible today, because
Yeah.
because I would just copy the surface and not the inner necessarily.
Good.
Thank you so much. So I want to remind everyone that there will be an opportunity to get more into this aspect of Georg's work, and he's going to do a longer presentation about his work at Atlantic Center for the Arts next week. It'll be at 7 p.m. on July 5th, and we were planning to do it in the theater, but I think we're going to redirect it to the music studio. I think your piano is being, no, in the theater?
Theater.
Okay, so it'll be in the theater. So please come. And it'll be, another wonderful opportunity to learn more about his work and interact with another remarkable artist. And thank you for coming with
Thank you
us.
so much. Thank you very much.